Transforming the travel industry has always been at the heart of what Amadeus does. With NDC, the same is true. We collaborate and invest to make NDC meet the needs of all. By smoothing the bumps, achieving consistency, and refining this new common language, we are helping make NDC a strong standard that delivers for airlines, travel agents, corporations, and travelers. We are committed. We are leading the way. Are you ready to join us? NDC is about personal choice, helping meet the demands of today's consumer through the channel of their choice. COVID-19 brought travel almost to a standstill. But it also showed the importance, more than ever, of sharing real-time, relevant information and new types of offers. Through NDC, airlines can accelerate the creation of this new content. Because when airlines know the who, what, and why of a traveler, they can provide content that allows travel sellers to better serve customers with a more personalized and context-specific offer. With our expertise, experience, and customer knowledge, we deliver what the industry needs. Amadeus already brings information, offers, and content from over 400 airlines to travel sellers and corporations around the world. And now, with NDC, that content will be more dynamic, richer, and relevant. One pipe, one screen, one interface to compare, personalize, make, and service bookings. Wherever the content sits, we deliver it, fully integrated. The Amadeus Travel Platform brings it all together. We normalize it, and we deliver it to the world. It's going to be a hybrid world for some years. NDC content and other technologies will coexist. But we have that covered, now and in the future, with innovative and scalable solutions. You can cross the bridge when the time is right for you. Flexibility is the new normal. The travel industry must adapt. NDC enables this change. Refunds, cancellations, new boarding procedures, and restrictions will come and go. We built servicing capability as core in our platform, not as a nice-to-have. And the need for efficient servicing has never been greater. Amadeus will enable you to make your business agile, information-led, and service-driven, powering NDC forward. The opportunity is there to build a more dynamic, tailored, responsive industry. The collaboration is there. We understand airlines, travel sellers, corporations, and travelers. We can make it work for all, not just for some, encouraging innovation, anticipating new services, and supporting all our customers. And we are ready for recovery and reboot. Ready for you. Join our journey.
It's my pleasure to welcome you all for this special webinar, Get NDC Ready with Amadeus on behalf of Amadeus. I know it's very difficult to take time out, especially when all of us are dealing with the ongoing challenges. Thank you. Thank you for taking the time. We all know that travel broadens horizons, creates networking opportunities, and helps grow the economies. Travel and tourism is one of the biggest contributors to the GDP. Travel powers progress, and Amadeus powers travel. Amadeus has pioneered the travel technology market in India for over 27 years now. Amadeus has been working with its partners to facilitate better and more rewarding journeys while shaping the future of travel. For over a year and a half, the global travel sector has been facing huge challenges. Even today, travelers fear COVID-19 while traveling, and there is a need for correct and updated information as the rules and policies in itself are changing very, very fast. We now find ourselves in a whole new world of travel to which corporations and travelers and we all need to adapt. During this time, our travel industry also has been evolving, fueled by digitalization, personalization, and technologies like NDC, which are increasingly being used by various airlines. New technologies need to be embraced, and we need to overcome roadblocks on this journey. As the industry contemplates and explores new ways to recover, technology and innovation will be powerful enablers of change. In fact, 97% of travelers already say that technology has helped them increase their confidence to travel. We at Amadeus are committed to working together with our partners and the wider industry to rethink travel and to reignite travel confidence. We have for you here the webinar, Get NDC Ready with Amadeus, in collaboration with TAAI. Without any further ado, let me introduce Mrs. Jyoti Myal, President Travel Agents Association of India, to kickstart the webinar. She doesn't need any introduction. In fact, in addition to the President of TAAI, she also holds various positions in many industry and business bodies like FAID, FICCI, PHSC, etc. A well-known industry leader with forward-thinking, innovative management, and dynamic abilities, she has the vision to raise standards of travel and tourism in the country. She has been contributing her services and expertise for the betterment of travel trade and spearheading the various TAAI initiatives. Jyoti.
Thank you so much for such an elaborate introduction, Rakesh ji. I didn't need that, but thank you once again. So I'll just say good afternoon to all my TAAI member colleagues who are here on the dais. Of course, Rajiv Bhatia, though I can't see him. Ramona, who is going to be giving a presentation. Swati, who I already interacted with for some time because I know she's working hard behind the scenes. So just to say this, yes, today we all gathered here because the last 2 years have given us many, many challenges. Challenges to survive, challenges to work and move forward. But saying that, I always say the challenges need to be accepted, taken in the stride, and they will keep creating opportunities also, because that is what challenges always brings you. So there'll be new ways we need to bring forward. We need to actually concentrate on 2 words, which I always say is R-E, because that is what it is that we need to work into our systems. It is, restructuring, rebooting, realigning, recontracting, and with all that only, we will be able to actually rebound into our business. So saying this, I'm going to just say that, yes, Amadeus and TAAI have had a long relationships. And we've been hearing since long, since the last couple of years, and just going back into history for some time, I've been hearing since last couple of years that GDSs are going away. They're going to move away from our business. Our revenue systems are going to go away. How will we sustain? As all of us, the GDSs also started evolving and started evaluating better processes, working for the betterment of the industry. We need to continue to innovate, and we need to continue to bring new things in the forward. Amadeus, as we all know, TAAI members, of course, they are dealing with you, have been a very close partner with us in each and every step. Our relationship has proved beneficial to all our members and will surely continue to do so with the innovative thinking. Before I move forward, because we all know your strength and your relationship, Rakesh ji, with us, and we have, it's not that since we have come into existence, both of us today, we've been in a collaboration with years and years. I'd just like to quickly share some thoughts on talking about why we have gathered here to discuss NDC and way to move forward. Because not only are we directly with Amadeus and looking how this once again can be a mutually beneficial business relationship. Firstly, once again, for everyone's benefit, who all are gathered here and here, I would quickly like to refresh our thoughts on what is NDC. What does really NDC stand for? It's a new distribution capability, which actually is essentially an XML standard created by the International Air Transport Association called IATA. XML is a word which even I used to get confused initially when there were no GDSs and there was no technology. But I think that is what it is, and that is where we are today. So we allow the airline service providers to deliver rich content and ancillaries to our customers. The rich content is one of the factors how airlines can market themselves and make the brand distinguishable, while access to customer data via NDC enables better controlling of pricing strategies like dynamic pricing. So basically, NDC is a communication protocol aimed at replacing the old protocol that has been around since 1980s and used by, of course, GDSs, but now we see that GDSs are evolving. So a new protocol using XML allows for bringing rich content and ancillaries directly to online travel agencies or on our and through the GDS, we'll all become online travel agents. And that's why it is so important to indulge in this webinar today. So just to also say that, that there are certain benefits that the NDC would provide. Though I also believe there will be some challenges too, going forward. So the first, which I feel is very important, is that, like the negative part, let me take it the first, is that the personalized shopping experience and the access to customer information. The airlines, though, they do have a lot of information from us as travel agents, but currently most of the customers' personal data remains in the hands of the middlemen, you can say, the OTAs and the GDS. This means that the airlines get the basic information about their clients, which doesn't allow for personalizing the shopping experience. So the thing that has become a standard in modern travel e-commerce is that, the goals have to be looked into more to see how the direct information doesn't only land up in the airlines case and is utilized for their betterment only, because I think we are a very, very vital part of the entire process. Second, of course, is the better part, which is the content and the pricing autonomy. So dynamic pricing is the ability to create personalized fare and travel packages, which is always based on the individual client information. Third, of course, is the rich content which the NDC can offer, which is ancillaries and discounts. And we certainly need those more to use it to our strength, because it's not only profitable to the carriers, but also to the travel agents. Of course, the product differentiation is another big thing which needs to be looked into, because through the GDS model, the airlines were displaying a very limited about themselves into the system. But now with this NDC also being on the GDS, I think it would be a wonderful way to not use any meta search engines or the OTAs, and it'll be easier for the travelers and the travel agents to move forward. So the reduced reliance on the legacy system. NDC will act as a separate engine outside the legacy systems that allow for presenting data stored in the PSS databases using airlines' private interfaces, which gives us much more value to add to our entire business. And I think that is very, very important. And that is the reason we have actually collaborated today. So not taking too much of our time and talking more, because we want to see the presentation, and I'm sure our members have a lot of question and answers to ask. I would request Rakesh ji again to take this forward so that we can be ready with these services using Amadeus capability and how this can support us for the future. Because collaboration and working with together is the strength today. Thank you once again, all of you, for getting me here, and of course for tying up and collaborating with TAAI to take this forward. Thank you, Rajiv, once again. Thank you, Ramona, for being here. And we are very excited to look at the product and see how we can make this more beneficial after we've seen the product and shared it with our members. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jyoti. Thanks, and thanks for providing a good context in the background. And we look forward to a good session here.
Yeah, thanks.
I would now introduce other speakers and the rest of the panelists for the session today. First of all, Ramona. She's Senior Vice President, India, Southeast Asia, and Inside Sales Travel Sellers, Amadeus. Ramona's current role involves her to lead all commercial activity with customers in Asia-Pacific markets. She is also responsible for rolling out the India sales channel for targeted customers in Asia-Pacific. Her previous role includes leading the consolidators and network segments in the global organization. She was earlier Senior Vice President of Retail in Travel Channels, looking for her retail customers in Asia-Pacific. Ramona joined Amadeus in 1999 and has worked in both travel channels and airline businesses, holding positions in several departments such as customer service, product management, account management, and sales engineering. She has worked across many markets, including Australia, France, and Thailand. Prior to working for Amadeus, Ramona worked with Accenture, and her role included project managing various IT projects for oil and gas. Ramona is a qualified engineer and holds an electrical engineering as well as a computer science degree from the UK. Then we also have with us Nitesh Senapati. Nitesh Senapati is an experienced professional in product strategy and go-to-market, with over 15 years of experience encompassing the full product lifecycle from concept to commercialization. He is based in Singapore and currently leading and responsible for NDC growth in Asia Pacific for Amadeus Travel Sellers. Leveraging his customer knowledge, key understanding of Asia, and deep knowledge of the Amadeus system, he is coordinating the activities related to NDC. He is responsible for growth in the region and representing APAC in the global NDC program within Amadeus. His objective is to make the new technical standard a success for the travel agencies. Then, last but not the least, we have Swati Bhatia. You all know him in some form. She is the head of front office products and solutions, India subcontinent. She oversees the product management and deployment activities of new and existing products in the region. Her area of focus is collaborating with various teams from bringing new and emerging travel technologies to the Amadeus users. She is an expert in driving and managing adoption of new solutions and new technologies. Swati has been part of the Amadeus team for over 20 years now, and she is also a trained vocalist in light and traditional Indian classical music. We are going to talk about the need and relevance for NDC in today's time. What is the status of the Amadeus NDCX program? I'm sure you would be interested to know which airlines are already available on the Amadeus Selling Platform, which ones are in the pipeline. How can you get to see an NDC availability on the existing Amadeus screen? Is there a change in the process? And more importantly, how do you see an end-to-end process from availability to a ticket issuance in the new NDC process? We'll also have a session in the end for question and answers. In fact, you can use the question and answer session throughout option throughout the session to ask any questions. And we have reserved some time at the end to answer as many of the questions as we can. Thanks, and over to Ramona.
Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mrs. Mayal and Tai, for inviting me over. It was a very nice introduction that you gave me, and I thank you for inviting me today. Yeah, so if we move over to the next slide where we will share some trends. So with the upcoming holidays, despite the Omicron, we do see some positive signs in terms of travel picking up in different parts of the world. And again, if we zoom into what the Amadeus worldwide schedule status says, we see that India actually has a very, very bright horizon, especially in 2022. We see flight schedules are significantly increasing, and the gap between 2022 and versus 2019 is narrowing, which is really good news. And here, especially if we zoom in and see February, it's looking particularly positive, where there is less than negative or minus 10% gap. No, Asia, if you look on the other graph, is a bit more conservative. However, there is an uptick in Q1 where the gap is roughly around minus 17%. So again, without crystal ball gazing, we see that there is a very positive outlook. Of course, there are peaks and troughs that could happen. But again, as I echo what Mrs. Mayal and Rakesh say, we do see there are some glimmers of hope, which we will need to capitalize on, despite the uncertainties that come in the travel industry at this point in time. Yeah. So if we move to, yes, thank you. You read my mind already to the next slide. Yeah. So we see from the statistics and the recent survey that we did, we clearly see that travelers are eager to travel. There is no doubt about it. Everyone that I've seen professionally and family members, everyone wants to travel. That's why last year we had the revenge travel hashtag that came up. Now, some of the reasons that we see travelers are a bit concerned are obviously some very obvious ones. No fear of catching the COVID. The Omicron is not really helping, and there are different standards around the world in different countries that people adhere to in terms of social distancing, in terms of wearing masks, and so on. So that obviously makes a big part of the concern. And the second one, and one that is actually very close to me, is the whole self-isolation quarantine before and after traveling. No? So as you know, and I'm from Thailand from Bangkok. So a month ago, Thailand opened to 64 countries, India included. And basically, if you come to Thailand, you will have 1-day quarantine or until your PCR tests come out. However, you can, once you go back, depending on what country you come from, the quarantine is different. So that's an area of concern as well. And last but not least, it's also the changing restrictions that you have. No, so with the Omicron, we saw, countries were closing borders to some other countries. There are some more restrictions. For example, I'm actually in France at this point in time. 1 day before I travel, they announced that the PCR test had to be valid 48 hours before, and not the usual 72. So these are some of the restrictions and changes and last minute cancellations that people would be concerned about. Yeah, so that is some of the things. So if we move on, given these concerns, travelers will certainly rely more on travel agencies for advice more than ever before. In the past, we saw there was a lot of online hype, but today, yes, people are more into the omni-channel. They expect relevant choices, personalization, flexibility, because there is no one source of data truth, if you like. So with all the changing restrictions, where can travelers go in order to get their source of truth? It is to travel agencies that can give them this information, so that they can have a safe and frictionless travel. Yeah. So and again, for travel agencies, it is important to enrich their retailing capabilities to meet the traveler demands. And as we know, one of the things that is very challenging for us and has always been is content fragmentation. So we believe in Amadeus that NDC is really a key ingredient to making this, to overcome this challenge and making travel a success. So what's in it for the different players in the travel ecosystem with NDC? So we have the different players. So for the airlines, NDC truly gives them the ability to control what they want to offer, and easily adjust their fares as compared to legacy technology, which airlines have, to file fares in advance and so on. So in addition, airlines are now able with NDC to push for localized and contextualized information and shopping time. So as an example, if regulations change at specific destinations according to travel restrictions, this can be published as soon as possible, as soon as the shopping time. It can also provide special offers to frequent flyers and so on. So this is some of the benefits that NDC can obviously provide to an airline. Now, if we think of the traveler, we know that the traveler doesn't only focus today on the cheapest available fare, but also on the flexibility and the policies for cancellations. They are willing to pay more to ensure safety and the whole social distancing capabilities. So this, of course, leads airlines to cater to being more creative in what they offer in terms of servicing. Now, if we move to the travel agencies, and I've spoken a bit about travel agencies and the benefits, NDC obviously gives them the possibilities to personalize services to travelers. So agencies now have access to a broader pool of services from various airlines and will be able to craft a personalized trip out of all these options. And in addition, NDC truly provides a simple and easier workflow. So in the past, there was a lot of cryptic commands, especially to rebook a flight, to cancel a flight, and so on. There were all these commands that you had to do, depending on the booking stage. But with NDC, we know that it's very much point and click. And again, as we see, all these fares and penalties are calculated by the airlines. Travel agencies now don't, because of this easy graphical user interface, they don't really have to worry too much about ADMs, which comes from various mistakes that you can have when the booking flow is complex and you have a lot of cryptic commands that you have to deal with. Yeah, so in closing, we really need to continue to navigate through the ups and downs of the COVID. It's, as I mentioned earlier, there are peaks and troughs that we'll have to go through, but we will certainly navigate through this successfully. We have an opportunity not to just rebuild travel, but to make it bigger and better than before. The traveler's needs are obviously changing. Enhanced travel retailing is a key to accelerate this change in the industry, and it's time that we consider new technologies. As we heard before, digitalization is really taking off, and new technology like NDC is certainly there to strengthen your capabilities in terms of retailing and making travel bigger, bolder, and better. So thank you very much. And with this, I pass over to my esteemed colleague, Nitesh.
Thank you, Ramona. And thank you for the introduction that you gave, and also outlining how NDC would play a major role in the upcoming times in the true digitalization of retail. Now, what I'll do today is that I'll try to cover what we as company, what we as Amadeus are doing in this changing world of digital retail. At the core of our retailing strategy is Amadeus Travel Platform. And what Amadeus Travel Platform is really an evolution of our GDS systems that you heard of all the time from us. And in the last 5-10 years, what we have done is that we have really taken it to the next level. That really allows us to answer the needs of the travel stakeholders much better than what we have been able to do before. First of all, what we have taken is that back in 2017, we have taken GDS from our legacy systems to fully open systems. And even today, I'm very proud to say that we are among the only ones that are fully on open systems. What that really allows and what that really means on open systems and being on open systems is that allows us to really give you a truly scalable system, a performance system, and a flexible system. And the first fruits of this investment that we have done are already being seen by the way that we are now handling NDC. Because of our flexible systems and scalable systems, we have been able to integrate NDC onto our core systems. And this flexibility allows us to integrate any content coming from any technology source, whether it be it NDC, whether it be it EDIFACT, other APIs, into one common platform. And we don't even stop at that. Not only just Amadeus Travel Platform integrate air content, but today we are already connecting with 1 million over hotel chains, transfer providers, insurance providers, payment providers, and many more. However, today in this webinar today, the focus purely is on NDC. So I'll speak a bit more about it. Now, NDC as a core of our strategy is integrated, and you would have heard from many of us or in the press how important NDC is and how it plays an important role. Now, as we integrate content to our Amadeus Travel Platform, it's very important to see is that how is it making us different from many other providers which are outside in the market. So let me highlight 6 key points that we see on how we justify or how we differentiate ourselves from the many other providers in the market, and how we add value to your ecosystem, and how you can use NDC on your side. The first is that because the content is integrated to the core, so we are just not an aggregator of the content, but we are really integrating the content. That means that in one simple call, say for example, if you're an agency in Delhi and you're looking for a Delhi to New York flight, you don't need to worry about going into different systems. We provide all that content into one single platform. If you're an offline user, a Cell Connect, or if you're an online user, a web services API. So all that content will come together, be it EDIFACT, LCC, or in NDC all together, and a travel agency or a travel seller can really make a choice based on his need, what content he wants to provide to his traveler. So that's really coming together as part of integration. The second point is about normalization. So today, NDC is in a journey of evolution. What we have seen is that there are different versions of NDC APIs, because as we are in an evolving journey, IATA is publishing 2 API versions a year. So we have today 11 versions out in the market, each one different from the other, with the changes, evolutions, new features. And then also there are different IT providers. Either they are standard off-the-shelf providers like Amadeus, Altia NDC, Fairlogics, or airlines are creating their own NDC APIs. So there are different interpretations of API. So for you, it will be a complex world to navigate because all these complexities of different versions, different APIs. So what we do on our side is that we are doing the heavy lifting for you. We do the integration, we do the normalizations, we combine all the complexities behind, hide all the complex algorithms behind, so that you as a travel seller can enjoy a simple, uniform booking flow without worrying about what is the technology behind the scenes. And also what is important is that as we grow, as more airlines become NDC ready, we will be providing on our platform more airlines at no additional cost to you. So you can simply enjoy the benefits of NDC on our platform. Third, as Ramona was saying, it's also about not just about an airline inventory, no? It's about how do you maximize, how do you personalize, and how do you add value to your travelers? How do you add value to your customers? So with NDC, it allows airlines to sell more than what is just airline inventory. So today, seats, bags, fare families are available, but I'm sure with this technology in the future, there would be much more to come. There is much more innovation that will happen. And this technology really allows for an airline to explore what are the other things that they can really provide to a traveler to create that unique value proposition and to create that unique distinction from themselves. So that is something that we're fully supporting on NDC on our platform today. Number 4, what we will be doing is that we are not only just focusing on making a prime booking flow and merchandising. We know that in indirect distribution, it is not just about making a booking. You can make a booking on any online booking tool or anyone who plays with XML. What is really important is the ecosystem of a travel agency. We know that many of you have online systems where you book and then go to Sell Connect or offline systems to service the booking. You have to provide the servicing needs of a travel agency regardless of the technology. A traveler is not going to ask you whether you booked on NDC or EDIFACT. He's going to expect the same level of service. So what we are focusing on is a true servicing platform where you can provide the same level of consistency in your servicing, be it cancel, refund, change, disruption management, that can be provided. Plus, we are creating a PNR with active flight segments. So we would not create ghost segments because the content is coming from outside, but we create active segments that really allows for flight disruption management, for mid-back office feeds, be it be, or its segment status changes. So it's really content integrated onto your platform, just like what you had for EDIFACT. Plus, the unique advantage at Amadeus is that we are not just a distribution player. We are also an IT player. And today we have over 30 airlines which are contracted or in process of contracting for Altia NDC. These airlines, when they sign a distribution agreement, would come to Amadeus Travel Platform, and they will form a very critical mass of many different airlines providing NDC on the indirect distribution channel. Plus, not to forget with COVID, what it has taught us is that customer service is the key. With our 24/7 support world over, which you have trusted all along, we continue to support you regardless of what technology it is behind, regardless of which airlines it is behind. So it's truly important that you also see that with NDC, we continue the same way. And the last, scalability. So we are not just focusing on making 10 bookings, 20 bookings, 100 bookings on NDC. The aim on our side is higher. We want to make millions of booking, and our platform with the technology investments that we have made is really ready, scalable, flexible to scale to that level. Payments. We ensure that you can still pay with your existing BSP cash mechanisms or credit card so that there is no disruption on how you operate your business today. Even if you buy an NDC ticket, it will be reported the same way from BSP, so nothing changes in the backend for you. And the last, sixth point is a sustainable business model. We understand that for an ecosystem to work, for NDC to add value, it should be in a sustainable business model. It should add value to all the stakeholders in the value chain. If it is changing the business model, then it is something of a concern. But what we are trying on our side to make sure that we provide the content in a such way that we sustain and we understand the value that you have created. Moving on next, on our NDC journey. We created our program 4 years back in 2017. And from 2019, we have been steadily delivering a lot of results. In 2019, we delivered our first travel API. And with that, we had one big European OTA who started on our NDC journey, and we were live. In 2020, we launched it on our offline tool, which is Sell Connect. And we started with the early adopters and the technologically advanced customers, big customers, and across the globe. In 2020, again, we launched our self-booking tool, Sidetrick, with NDC content with few of our key pilots. And this year has been the game changer. From January of this year, what we have done is that we have started rolling out NDC at scale. We are live now in over 57 markets, over 10K customers worldwide, and this is really scaling up. We really see NDC take-up growing. We have already launched it in India, and Swati will cover it in the later stages on if you have not yet enrolled on NDC, how you can get onboarded and start on this journey on NDC. So with this slide, the key takeaway is that we are really at scale now. We are really going big now. And with travel recovery happening, I think we are at an inception point where we would really see NDC evolving further. Now, going further onto our next slide is I would like to do a bit of deep dive, not going exactly into all details, but really telling you what are the key features that we provide today. Fully aggregated search. So on Sell Connect or be it API, you need to do a simple search and you'll be presented with all the content, NDC, Edifact, and LCC. And then you can make a choice. What is the most relevant content to your travel seller? It is really about giving the control to you, giving the choice of content for you to make a decision on what content suits you best or your travelers best. Then providing additional capabilities of booking seats, bags, seat maps, and additional capabilities of merchandising. Payments with credit cards and cash, as we already spoke about. That's about your shop and book. Then on the servicing side, which is very critical in the COVID times, to provide the same level of efficient servicing to your customers, we have invested a lot and very proud to say that our platform can fully provide the same level of servicing, or we are moving to that area, or we are in the next years to come, we will be at par with what you provide on Edifact. This is an evolving journey, but we have already covered a lot of ground. Today, we can do void, cancel, and refund. We can support voluntary changes for OND changes, for time changes, for cabin class changes. Also, very important, we handle disruption through involuntary changes through your similar looking queues. Then on the integration part, not just stopping at the booking flows, but also how it is integrated to your back office system. So we launch or we have a feed that goes to your back office system. We have an active segment. And then last is an important bit, which is improved synchronization. And what do we mean by that? So today, if you know that in an NDC system, there would be an airline PNR and there would be a travel agency copy of the PNR. It is very important that anytime a change happens on either of the side, the whole order is synchronized. So we are putting a lot of effort to put this into place. So today, if you have a time change or a schedule change or an airline cancellations, we ensure that a travel agency is duly notified, and so that he can know that if the traveler wants to make a change, he wants to accept the change proposed by the airline, or if he wants to make an alternate itinerary. So depending on that, technically, we make sure that we do that. And last bit here is about interpolability. We understand that many of you might use different systems. You might use an OBT for making bookings and then servicing in Cell Connect. So it's very important that we have our systems interpolable. So if your corporate customer is booking it in a self-booking tool using Amadeus, then you can retrieve that PNR onto your Cell Connect and completely service it. So our systems are completely interpolable within each other. The reason why it is done is, or reason how we can do it is because we are integrating the content at the core of our Amadeus Travel Platform. And with that, we can provide this omni-channel platform by exposing the content into many of our point of sale channels, whether be it Citrix, whether be it API, or whether be it Cell Connect. So that's a unique advantage that we have on our side. Now, with those features, what I would like to talk about now is a bit more about which are the airlines that we have in our platform today. What is the content that you can book today, and what is coming in the upcoming times. So very excited to share with you the roadmap that we have today. So today we are already live with 4 airlines and 14 other airlines, which are contractually signed, will be coming in the next years. This list is not exhaustive. There are many other carriers that we are already in conversation with. We are negotiating. And as soon as we are in a stage where we can share with you, we will be very happy to share it with our local stations and local offices to you. So today what we are live is that we are live with American Airlines. Today, the differentiated content that they provide are seats and then corporate bundles. Then we have Singapore Airlines, a very big regional carrier, very important, and India remains the biggest overseas market for Singapore Airlines in terms of booking numbers. So it's very critical, and with the VTL flights opening in last month, I think it is very important content for India market, and that is today live on our systems. Also, what we understand is that there is some kind of surcharge that will be implemented from January. So with our systems, with the content available, you can enjoy the surcharge-free content through our NDC on your Cell Connect or Travel API as of now. Then we have Air France and KLM, which is already live in some European countries. And we are working together with Air France KLM to see how we can launch it in the Asian markets. They are doing it in a phased approach. India remains one of the important markets for Air France KLM. And we have been told that very soon they would be starting planning to release the content in India. Technically, we are already capable to sell that content. It is just the airline when it decides to be ready in India. Then we have Qantas, which we are in the piloting stage. And then we expect Qantas to go live in the next months. Then in the H1 next year, is the first half of next year, we have got a very busy calendar. And what we have done here to simplify is that try to distribute the airlines in 3 different categories. And this is according to the IT provider. First one, British Airways of the IAG group. British Airways and Iberia would be one of the candidates for next year. We have already progressed a lot on the implementation, and we are very confident that we'll be launching it next year. Then in the middle box, if you see, there are many carriers: LOT, Kenya, Qatar, Cathay, Finnair, Japan Airlines. And what's common in between all of them is that they are Altia NDC carriers. What really that means is that we will be able to put them on board on our platform very quickly, because we have got a lot of synergies going in between Altia NDC and Amadeus, which we call as Altia Connect, Amadeus Travel Platform Connect, wherein we can very quickly get onboarded any carrier which is on Altia NDC because of the scalability and industrialization that we have achieved. Then United is another carrier from North America, which is in the plans for next year. And in the coming year, also what we have plans for are Air Canada, Etihad, a very important carrier for India. So Etihad is just not stopping at NDC. They are a very important carrier, which we had made announcement last month that they are also moving their PSS systems to Altia. So it's a big migration for us, and that would add a lot of content on the NDC side in the next years. Then we have Vueling again from the IAG group, and then there will be many more carriers that are in the plan for next years. So that's the latest plan. And as we progress, as we add more airlines, as we contract more airlines that we can share publicly with you, we will update this roadmap with you. Now, it's very important that now that we have talked a lot of theory on what the content is available, what is there, what carriers, it's very important to showcase you on how that content really works on our systems. And for that, I'll depend on my esteemed colleague Swati to take you through that journey, to show you how really that the content, NDC content appears, and how easy it is to book through our systems on Amadeus Travel Platform. To you, Swati.
Well, thank you very much, Nitesh. That was really such a interesting insight from both Ramona and you, and it actually is the perfect opportunity for me to actually showcase the audience all the features which have been talked about and have been highlighted about the system and what the airlines are actually trying to do around the bundling of fares and services and all the rich merchandising and the beautiful intuitive flow. So today I'll be presenting to the audience in a real-time environment on Amadeus Selling Platform Connect, how easy it is for our travel agency partners and subscribers to actually get onto the selling platform and see both the traditional EDIFACT content, as we call it, and the NDC content all on the same screen, and how all of this comes together. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm taking everybody to the selling platform page, and a lot of my audience, I hope, is already very familiar with Amadeus Selling Platform Connect already. So I'm going to start right from the beginning. Okay, and I'm going to start and sign into the system. This is the Amadeus Selling Platform sign-in page, which the Amadeus users have to access in order to create bookings on the travel content. So today, when you sign into the selling platform, it tells you a little bit of an introduction about what NDC is, so that everybody who is working on the Amadeus GDS should know that they now also need to equip themselves and get acquainted with how this new technology works. So Amadeus is actually conducting trainings very regularly, and we are having almost 2 sessions, in a month, to train our travel agencies and the staff who's working there to be completely familiar with how to book NDC content on Amadeus. So I actually invite and encourage everybody on this webinar today to get in touch with your Amadeus account managers, and please do try and register for one of these trainings. So very simply, NDC content, the first thing about it is that it's available only on a graphical user interface, which is great, which means no, entries, etc., to be learned, etc. So I'm going to take you through a simple air search. Okay, I've divided this session actually into 2 parts. I'll show you a regular, like a availability on American Airlines, and then I'll take you through an end-to-end booking flow on Singapore Airlines. Okay, so I'm here. So I'm just going to type in, for example, I want to do, an air search from, let's say, JFK to Miami. Okay, and I'm just putting in my dates. So the idea of this demonstration is to just show you how easy it is to actually book this content. Why am I not able to move? Okay, okay, so as you can see that the panel is all graphical, and So here you see, just on the basis of point and click, you have a lot of information which is available to you in terms of inputting, the date, the departure and the origin, and, the passenger type codes, etc. Here, if I click on fares and fees, okay, the system allows you to see that on the screen, you can actually work with public fares, negotiated fares, corporate fares, and any type of restrictions, etc. if you want the system to show you. If you want to see NDC content or excluded, or see all the content in one go, which is really the idea. If you have an NDC promotion code, that is also possible to be inserted by the click of a button, like Ramona pointed out in her presentation. It's pretty much point and click and a graphic overview. So I get on to the search. Okay, and now what the system is doing in the background is really that it's putting together the information of fares and the services which the airline has bundled into this particular fare. So what I'm expecting to see is really a fare which is both a combination of the EDIFACT, which is the regular the non-NDC content, and the NDC content, which the system is going to bring out in one particular screen. So now if okay, there you go. So now the NDC results have come in, and the beauty of the new technology is that all on the same screen, the system has returned to me both the NDC and non-NDC content. So for example, if we look at this particular fare, this is a regular fare. This is not an NDC fare. If I continue to scroll down on the screen, I also see certain fares which are highlighted with this purple tile, which indicates that this is an NDC fare. So on Amadeus Selling Platform Connect, the users have the advantage of looking at the EDIFACT or the non-NDC content and the NDC content all on the same platform, all on the same interface. So like Ramona pointed out, and Mitesh also shared with us, that this technology allows the airlines to share a lot of things directly connected to the airline system. So for example, here, if I was to click on the fare details, you would notice that the system would tell you the fare and the taxes and the service fees, etc. If you want to see the full fare conditions, you can actually click on this button to expand and see which fare family it belongs to, what's the fare basis, what's the fare code, what are the rules regarding cancellations and changes, etc. Okay. Okay, I'm going to turn off my video. All right. Now, if you see below here that we talked about that why NDC, what is it that the airlines are trying to do with NDC? And a term which we hear very often is all about merchandising, is all about personalization, and also bundling of services. So
Swati, can I just come in for a second, please?
Sure.
Can you just speak a bit loudly?
Oh, yeah,
the members who are writing to me and saying they can't hear you. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Swati.
Well, is it okay for everybody now?
Yeah, I think it's much better.
Okay,
yeah.
great.
Thanks.
So like I said, that the thing with NDC, which is highlighted a lot, is the ability for the airline, to share the bundles of services along with the fare. So when we look at this NDC fare, you also see that the airline is saying upgrades available for this itinerary. So in this fare itself, if I click here without, doing any entry, the system would be telling me what is the kind of upgrade which is available, that if I pay, 9826, I would be able to avail all this information. If I click here and I say show details, the system would be telling me the inclusions and exclusions of this fare, if I want to see any sort of baggage information which is attached to this fare, all this would be available to me here. However, if I say that, all right, I don't want to go for an upgrade, I just want to select this particular flight, which I had seen earlier, it's okay. I can just come here and select the flight. So what we are looking at right now is the graphical representation of a real-time American Airlines booking on the Amadeus system using NDC content. Now, of course, the familiar users who are already very well acquainted with Amadeus would know that you need to put in the last name and the first name and get on with the booking. Now, in NDC, there is the concept of offers. So what you have looked at right now is the offer which American Airline has given you. And now you need to actually convert it into an order, which we say creating a PNR. Of course, when we have our detailed training sessions, which we encourage everybody to attend, the entire process is taken through very, very thoroughly. I would also like to take the time to show you an end-to-end booking flow of Singapore Airlines now. And this time I will start off with a profile that instead of putting in the last name and the first name, etc., we can also just put in the profile of a passenger. For example, here, am I audible? Okay, Jyoti ma'am? Yeah.
Yes, Swati, thanks.
Okay, so I can retrieve a profile of a traveler. And now I'm going to show you how you can simply transfer these details and create a NDC booking. And this time, instead of American Airlines, I'll be using Singapore Airlines for this example. So the moment I said, transfer, it's brought me to the page where, as you can see, the passenger name is already filled in. The email address is also there. And the mobile number has been taken by the system. So now let's go ahead and look for a fare on the Singapore Airlines content. So I'm saying Delhi to Singapore. Okay, and let's say I look for a date. Okay, and I'm looking lines now, and I simply go and search. Okay, let's do this very, very quickly. So now again, in the back end, the system is actually looking for fares and it's looking for services. So what I have here again is an NDC fare, as you can see, with the purple tag. And I also have certain non-NDC fares, which you can see. These are public fares. They don't have an NDC tag. And the ones which are NDC are marked as private fares. So I'll just quickly complete a booking for you by selecting this flight on NDC. And once you do that, you will notice because this booking was made using a profile, system has already taken in the names, etc. And all we need to do is come and just click on book, which means I'm telling the system that I'm now ready to convert this offer from the airline into a confirmed booking. Now, in the new NDC world, this particular terminology is called an order ID. So for example, here, what I have got now from the system is along with the airline record locator and the Amadeus PNR, this is the new order ID, which actually comes into the picture when you issue a NDC ticket. Okay. All right. So that was a real-time flow of how the NDC bookings can be done. Of course, with the entire point and click technology, which is available on Selling Platform. As you can see, you can cancel this booking. You can also issue the tickets. Like, for example, here, if I come, I can click on this issue and pay. I can use seat maps. I can issue EMDs. And pretty much it's very, very easy and a very intuitive interface, which is available to the Selling Platform users. Now, just give me a moment. Let me just stop this share, and I'm kind of going back to my presentation so that we can get on with the rest of the flow. Right. So what we have seen here, just to highlight to everybody. Okay, so what we saw here, just to do a quick recap, was a real-time demonstration of how NDC content can be booked on Amadeus Selling Platform. We saw how the EDIFACT and the NDC content is coming in together. The NDC content is flagged off with the purple tile called NDC, and using point-and-click technology, we can actually see the fare and services offered by the airline, and the new order ID, which is used in the NDC context, is available to the NDC bookings. Now, the next logical question, how do we go live with NDC on Amadeus? Okay, so how do we go live with Amadeus? Basically, when an airline is ready to enter the market and they have taken a decision to launch into the Indian market, today the first step is that the travel agency would get this notification and they would actually contract with the airline. And once that process is done, to keep it very simple, that's when our travel agency partner would inform Amadeus, okay, and we would take we are taking around 2 weeks time today. Of course, it also depends on the airline, and we take your office ID and a few other credentials to activate this content on Selling Platform Content so that you can use it just the way it was demonstrated today. This is also true for the web service users. Also for the web service users, the process is pretty simple. Like Nitesh showed you in his slide as well, the NDC content is available to both the Selling Platform Connect users and also to our subscribers who are using the Amadeus web services. Of course, if you're using a back office system, the new AIR version is also available for use in the market, and the agency needs to adapt to that. So it's a pretty straightforward and a simple system. So now with that, we come to the very interesting part of the webinar today, where we have been actually looking at some of the questions that have been coming to us. So if I may request all the panelists to help me go through this session. We've received some very interesting feedback on our chat, and I've been looking at questions too. So with your permission, can we start with the first question, please? And I think for the first question, Mr. Bansal, if I may request you, if I may ask this question to you, a lot of our participants today in this webinar have asked that from our experience, there have been doubts about post-booking servicing in the NDC framework. So what is your view on this? If I may ask Mr. Bansal to please address this question.
Thanks, Swati. Thanks. Interesting question. Yes, definitely. There were some apprehensions, but that was very, very long ago. I think before the pandemic in 2018 and 2019, with certain schemas and certain versions, there were, do they support servicing or not? And, or how much servicing do they support? But as we have moved along, and from an Amadeus perspective, as Nitesh and Ramona also mentioned earlier in the presentation, that Amadeus does support end-to-end flow, be it a void, be it a cancel, be it a refund, or any other changes. And, both voluntary and involuntary changes are covered. So, travel agencies are able to do post-ticket servicing also after they have booked the initial ticket or made the initial reservation.
Right.
So changes, cancellations, and modifications, origin and destination, date changes are possible.
Right.
Of course, it depends from airline to what extent they are already ready on their side and have implemented the integration with Amadeus. But yes, as a feature, post-servicing is very, very important. And on Amadeus NDC platform, you will be able to do end-to-end servicing, including post-servicing and post-ticketing all the services. Maybe we would
yes.
like to add something.
Now, I think Rakesh, you've kind of summarized it very well. And I think just to add now that Amadeus has always been a very big proponent that if NDC has to succeed in indirect distribution with travel agency network, a very important focus has to be on servicing, post-booking servicing. And as you mentioned, we are already doing a lot of these use cases, refund, cancel, reissues, revalidations. But we are not just stopping at that. We are investing more to have even more advanced servicing features that you would see in upcoming years. The idea would be to be at the same level as what you have on Edifact today, where you can slice and dice a booking as you wish. So eventually the objective will be that, but we are already covering our major use cases and we are already evolving along with the airlines as they evolve in the NDC journey. Back to Swati.
I didn't realize I was on mute. Thanks, Nitesh. Jyoti ma'am, just to take a quick perspective from you in terms of, the importance of servicing, from our travel agency's perspective, what would you say about that?
No, I think it's a wonderful presentation that you've given. And I think of course, it is the future because all the airlines have come on the NDC platform or they're already doing that. So to have one platform to feature all the NDC airlines and to get what the other meta search engines are doing, I think it's a much easier and a better way for our members to transact their business on. So of course, there are a lot of questions which I can also see there that how do we pay? What is the credit system? How can Go Light agents really avail this opportunity? So I think those also need to be answered in some ways to satisfy the needs of our members. So if you could go ahead with that,
right.
But of course, we know the technology of Amadeus is very good. And thank you, Nitesh. Actually, I'm sorry I didn't name you. Thank you for your wonderful presentation. I think it was really nice and enlightening. But I think we should be answering some of those questions, if not all, because I know time is short.
Yes.
But we would love to, answer them one by one or maybe by mail. But some of the important ones, which I feel is the payment systems they're wanting to, how they can move forward with it, and how do you facilitate that? So, all those things would quickly put them in the right perspective. Thanks.
Right. Thank you, ma'am. Definitely, we will try and take as many, and we are collating the questions here. Ramona, if I may ask you, the second question, which a lot of people are asking, is that does NDC bring me more revenue and addition to business? So if we could get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the presentations you've heard that travel is changing, yeah, and it's the whole idea is to become better than before the COVID. And I think NDC brings a lot of interesting opportunities because as we see, the booking flow becomes easier, the opportunities of mixing and matching different services to offer more personalized offering to our customer becomes endless. Both, and if you look at the ecosystem, what an airline can do, what the travel agencies can do, and the need for the travel agencies that they can supply the travelers becomes wider. So I definitely think that NDC provides a lot of opportunity of mixing, matching in order to be flexible, in order to provide the personalization. So we actually, travel comes back with a true vengeance.
Sure.
I think you're on mute, Swati.
All right, yes, thank you, Ramona, thanks. Nitesh, there's one more question which a lot of people are asking, which is what impact will my business have if I don't adopt NDC? I think we get that a lot. So what would you say about that? It'll be interesting to take everybody's views on that. Let's start with you.
Sure. So NDC has been a journey now. If you look back, NDC was first formulated in 2011 in the IATA Symposium, and we are now 2021, 10 years. So with that trend, if you say that, oh, it's taken 10 years, let me wait another 10 years, but it is not now. In the last 3 or 4 years, what we have seen is that airlines are really leapfrogging into the NDC journey. And there was this target of 2020, and there was an IATA symposium last month in Madrid, where the airlines have said that with NDC, they have already achieved this 2020, and there are now targets being achieved for the next few years now. And few of the airlines like Finnair have very boldly said that they're going to move 80% or 90% of their business to NDC by 2025. And we are going to see more such announcements. So over a period of time, it no longer is this 10 years graph. We are going to very quickly see all these airlines moving ahead, and as COVID recovers, I think pushing through NDC and moving more and more their content onto NDC. Apart from that airlines are moving, what we already see is that many of these airlines are innovating content, creating new content, especially on the NDC channel. So there are like seats and bags from Singapore Airlines, a very valid example. That's not available on the EDIFACT channel, but you can sell it only through the NDC channel. So that's content differentiation that is being created, and airlines would be creating more and more such content differentiation strategies. I know of Qantas that have very significant content differentiation strategies by frequent flyer discounts, QCI discounts, offering lounges and others. So you will see more and more. So from a travel seller's perspective, I would highly recommend that get onboarded, get access to that content, make your choice on which content you want to book, but get that access so that you have all the content to recommend to your traveler. And then once you have the content, make the right choice on what you want to sell.
That's great. So thank you, Nitesh. Yes, that was a very comprehensive reply. And I guess we all get the key messages from this webinar, though we are getting a lot of questions, but just with respect for everybody's time, we will be, we do encourage that we either take them through mail or, our account managers to have them addressed. So I would now actually bring back the key.
Swati, before you move forward, I need to ask one question which has come to me through our Vice President, Jay Bhatia. He's asking if the travel agent service fee is possible on NDC. Can we mark up our service charges and put on the ticket? And can we also, does NDC also permit to B2B Connect to issue from another agent?
Nitesh, would you like to take that?
So there are two questions, not one actually.
Okay, so let me take one by one. So the first one is markup. So markup is something that is today not supported on the NDC, IATA NDC versions today. And this has been raised by a few airlines, but as you know that what happens with IATA NDC is that many of these airlines have to propose a change to IATA, and that change has to come. So from an IATA NDC perspective, that change has not been done as yet, but we are hopeful that that will come in the next years once the IATA symposium, there is a common consensus to develop that. But on the other side, on Amadeus, we have a travel agency IT product called Margin Manager that we could explore in the market that allows us to add a service on top of whatever your sale price is. But it's not a markup. That's not an implicit markup. That's an explicit margin that you on top, like adding a service fee, as you said. So that is one of the possibilities on the markup question. The second question, if I may ask a bit of clarity on, if you could elaborate a bit more on the B2B Connect part.
So basically, if you can, I can book it on my own system, and I can take it from someone else who's got an NDC, incentive or whatever.
Absolutely. So if you look at delegations, right, and that's again a very important subject in between different airlines across NDC. So there are different views across the globe in between different airlines. But some of the Asia Pacific carriers like Singapore Airlines and Qantas are really up for it because the delegation and the consolidation is very high in Asia Pacific region. So what they are looking forward is delegation through an IATA identifier called TIDS, which is a free of cost accreditation through IATA. The core reason being that in an IATA NDC world, they no longer recognize your PCC or an OID number. they really need a 6-digit or a 7-digit IATA number to identify you. So it's very different. So Singapore Airlines and Qantas are taking this approach of TIDS, whereas once an agency gets that identifier, even if he's a non-IATA agency, they would need then to make a booking through that TIDS number, and then they can transition it to a consolidator of choice for ticketing purposes. And so, but just to clarify, TIDS is not the prerequisite. It could be any IATA identifier. It could be GoLite, it could be TIDS, or it could be an IATA number. So you could be an agent with no SQ plate, but you can shop and book and then pass it on. But there are some more complexities to it. What we are planning with Rakesh is that we are planning another one in January, next year, where would be passing to the travel agency community and how exactly these delegation flows would work. So today we are primarily focusing on IATA agencies, but technology-wise, we are very much ready for it. So we will be discussing a bit more on it start of next year.
Okay, thank you. Swati, if you could send us the details on the margin markup, we would love to look at that product.
Yeah, Amadeus Margin Manager. Yes, absolutely, ma'am. Sure. I'm making a note of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, Mr. Bansal, if we could have you back for a quick recap and a thank you note.
Thanks, Swati. Thanks, Nitesh. Thanks, Jyoti. Thanks, Ramona, for wonderful insight. And, definitely we've learned more about NDC and the process now. And just take a quick look at why you can rely on Amadeus and everything that Amadeus has been working towards in its NDC program to ensure that all our partners reap all the benefits of this new technology in this booking platform within the Amadeus Selling Platform Connect. Amadeus offers an unparalleled capacity of NDD aggregation, content harmonization, servicing and reliability, as well as an ability to manage transactions at scale. As Nitesh also pointed out earlier, airlines are still using different versions of the NDC standard, and the standards are still not mature as yet. Their APIs have major differences in terms of flow, in terms of data, in terms of what functionalities can be offered. Amadeus is solving this problem for its partners by absorbing all these differences and hiding them behind a unique normalized interface. So for travel agencies, what this would mean is that their experience will be the same across various Amadeus touchpoints they are already using for the many different carriers they would be selling on the same platform. And Amadeus is further integrating this content with all the other types of content, be it Edifact, be it API, and travel agencies will be able to access the content, what they need, the way they want it. They can access, search, and compare all offers, NDC, non-NDC, regardless of the source from which they are coming. Amadeus is developing its IT solutions, including LTI and Navitaire, to cater to the NDC. Airlines can use various IT systems to distribute content. Complex setups can mean delays. The Amadeus and LTI and the Navitaire Skies NDC solutions for airlines are being integrated seamlessly into the Amadeus travel platform. So you get the content you need faster, and the travel and the airlines also have possibly much less work on their side. Amadeus has invested more than euros 4.8 billion in R&D in the last 20 years or so. We are constantly developing our solutions to cater to NDC so that our partners are able to adapt to the new industry standard with minimal investment required on their side. To unlock the potential of NDC, high performance technology is crucial, and we have re-engineered our Amadeus travel platform to make it fully open and even more scalable, to integrate all types of content and to deliver a world of new retailing possibilities. Our scalable technology is future-proof and fully aligned with the evolution of industry, NDC as well as One Order. As we look forward to many more years of continued success, we would like to express our sincere appreciation to all of you who have shown consistent trust in Amadeus, and we hope that we shall further enhance our partnership. Thank you. Thank you for joining the webinar today. We are confident that the momentum, along with improving trend in travel, will allow us to maintain this positive progression towards recovery. Traveler confidence has gained considerable momentum over the past few months. There is no doubt the industry has rapidly adapted in the second year of the ongoing pandemic, getting ready for travelers to get back on the road. Let us together prepare for takeoff and hope the new variant does not hamper this progress. Thank you. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Thank you, Rakesh.